Happy Saturday, quilting friends. Today I would like to show you how to sew together your Sparkle Star quilt blocks. Last night I laid them all out. I texted my mom to see if she thought that the arrangement looked good, and then I started sewing my blocks together. So as I sew them together, I kind of stack them up in the order they need to go, and then I just sew two at a time. And then I just kind of lay them face down. So the last row is kind of on top here. But anyway, so this is my bottom row. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it flat. And then I'm going to take the next row that I had flat, which is row 6. And if I just kind of lay it how I'm going to look at it, row 6 and then row 7, then what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to take row 6 and flip it down. Okay. And then I'm just going to start at one end, boop, sew down, and we will see where that takes us. It's kind of nice to have the paper on it still, because the paper just gives you a little more stability when you're sewing. And I don't know, I just really like having that paper on there. And it's nice too with this Sparkle Star paper piecing pattern. It gives you your 1/4 inch line, so you can just sew straight down that line. You don't really have to worry too much about it. And as I'm approaching the edge of my blocks, I'm just nesting these together. So for bulk purposes, I did iron my seams open because I figured with the paper and everything, it might make it a little bulky. So I am I ironed them open, and now I'm just sewing straight down that line and lining up those seams. And that will help me know that my blocks are going to be all lined up nice and neat. I just feel like you don't have to pin as much when you do the paper piecing, because the paper is kind of stiff and it gives you a guide to go by, and it just kind of keeps everything in place. So kind of like having that. You can also use your handy dandy little clips if you just want to clip at the seam, which I think is what I'm going to kind of do down here, just to keep it all in line. And pin my next intersection. And I think I did decide I'm going to hand quilt this when it's finished. I've never hand quilted before. So guess what? I'm going to be watching some YouTube videos on hand quilting and see what I come up with. And it's a good idea just to keep your quilt from bunching or having little tucks or whatever in it, puckers, is by sewing your 2 rows together and then kind of starting at the other end when you do the next 2 rows. It just keeps it from puckering. Ooh, okay, so there's my bottom row and my row above it. So 7 and 6. And I think I'm going to sew, let's see, I got 5 more. So I think I'm going to sew 5 and 4 together, 3 and 2, and then I'll probably do 1 to 2 and 3, and then I'll sew those 3 to 4 and 5, and then I'll sew for that group with 4 and 5 to 6 and 7. So I will meet you back here when that is complete. So hang tight, and if you are doing the Sparkle Star block, I hope that you also will sew your blocks with me. So have you ever opened a newspaper and it's really big and you're like shaking it and flatten it out so you can read it and you're holding it like this? That's kind of how I feel sewing this. It's a big newspaper that's kind of awkward. So I'm just being super careful as I'm going, and you don't really want to wrinkle it too much, but I'm on my last row, and I'm just kind of going slow, guiding it through. I'm going to stop as I get to this clip. I want to clip the next one. I'm just trying to keep it lined up at my seams. And just kind of heavy and bulky. Just different. Never done this before. And so it's just a new thing for me. And I kind of just adjust it underneath, just make sure everything's going good. Guiding it through as it's a little awkward, kind of stiff. It's interesting. Never really thought about the paper being, hard to maneuver around. It's not super difficult. Just have to take your time in lining things up. I'm sure there's going to be some wonky spots on here, being my first time. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Alright, let's see. Sewing the last 2 squares. They're still lined up good. Nice. Alright, there's my big newspaper. It's kind of loud. So a little stiff for being made of cotton. But it actually looks pretty good. Some of my little seams weren't totally lined up perfectly, but it's okay. Those little stars in the middle, these little star shapes, it still makes the star shape, even though the little lines in the middle are, not completely lined up on some of the blocks. That's just from me sewing it together and it being my first time making these blocks, but because it's all white in the middle, you don't really notice that they're not together. And I think to quilt this, I was thinking about hand quilting. And if I do that, um, I might just kind of follow like a quarter of an inch from the edge of these squares, just do around these squares. I think that'd be really cute. Because I think going around the triangles just wouldn't give it too much. But going around these squares, and I might end up actually doing it on my sewing machine, free motion. Uh, just don't have a lot of experience doing that. I normally tie, which this would be really cute tied too because it kind of looks old fashioned and it looks scrappy. So it would be really cute tied. But I think I'm making it for a little girl at our church who's a couple months old. And I just thought it'd be something fun for her to have. And it's kind of toddler size. Um, but it's fun. So yeah, so I think my next thing is I'm going to rip this paper off, and then I will be back when we go to baste and put the backing on, and then I can let you all know what I decided for quilting. So I'm just going to gently tear away this paper. Just be careful because I don't want to get any stitches. But you don't want to forget to take out your paper. Then you'll have one of those crinkle quilts. Oh, this turned out really cute. I'm really happy with this quilt. I think it was a lot of fun, and got to give props to my friend Nancy from my featherweight club for encouraging me to do some paper piecing and just kind of help me get over the initial shock of it, I guess, and uncertainty. And what's nice, I think when you have other paper piecing, if it's significantly difficult and there's a lot of little bitty pieces, it's probably a lot harder to tear out your paper. But what I did not have a lot of small pieces of paper, so that was nice. Yeah, so 2 blocks, and then really trying to get them out of this quarter-inch seam allowance as well, just so there's nothing stuck in there. It's kind of satisfying. You need a good stress reliever, or if you are a TV watcher, you can sit in front of the TV and rip this out. Or if you have a husband that likes to stay busy like mine, he likes to weed the pieces out of my vinyl projects. He said it's very satisfying, and so I let him do that a lot. He really takes his time and does a good job. So he's my picker for my vinyl projects. And this is pretty fun. So I hope you guys join me again whenever I go to put my batting on and my backing and start to quilt. So have a great evening. Bye for now.